What would you do if someone tried to trademark your mother's name? Not to protect it, not to honor it, but to turn it into a brand, to slap it on merchandise, to monetize the memory, to legally own it. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. That's the firestorm Prince William woke up to. A flurry of legal filings. A flurry of outrage. And at the center of it, Meghan Markle. Yes, Meghan. The Duchess turned brand builder. The former working royal who once declared she wanted a life of privacy. She's now filed for exclusive rights to the name Princess Diana. But it didn't stop there. She also filed to trademark House of Windsor. Let that sink in. The very name of the British monarchy, the dynasty that's existed for over a century, suddenly under threat of private ownership. Not by a corporation, not by a rival state, but by someone who once married into the royal family. Someone who once stood beside the Queen, smiled at balcony events, and pledged loyalty to the crown. Now filing to own it, legally. You might think this sounds like fiction, a royal satire. But this isn't an episode of The Crown. This is real, documented, filed, publicly accessible in trademark databases across the United States and Europe. The backlash was immediate. Furious, brutal. Fans of Princess Diana erupted. Royal commentators couldn't believe it. Legal analysts started dissecting the filings like they were state secrets. But none of them expected Prince William to respond the way he did. Because for decades, William has played the quiet one, the measured one, the diplomatic heir. He's endured scandals, attacks, betrayals, all with a stiff upper lip and a well-timed silence. Not this time. This time he acted. Behind palace walls, a fury boiled, one that had been brewing for years. The exit, the interviews, the Netflix specials, the constant truth bombs. But this was different. This wasn't gossip. This wasn't PR. This was war. A legal war. Royal blood versus royal rebellion. And at the heart of it, a name. One name. Diana. A name that shaped a generation. A name that symbolizes grace, heartbreak, resistance, tragedy. A name that still draws tears from those who watched her walk through landmines and chased paparazzi. A name that belongs not just to a mother, but to a memory, a movement. So when Meghan filed to claim it, to make it hers, William did something no one predicted. He dragged her to court. And not just any court. The Supreme Court. The headlines were thunderous. Prince William sues Meghan over Diana name rights. House of Windsor under trademark siege. Meghan's new brand shocks royal insiders. What in the world led to this? Why would Meghan do something so provocative, so brazen, so legally dangerous? Why now? That's where the story begins. And it only gets more twisted from here. Because Meghan didn't just want to build a brand. She wanted to control a legacy. To write history her way. To insert herself into royal mythos as more than a footnote. And along the way, she may have burned the last remaining bridges she had with the royal family. But it goes deeper. You see, this wasn't Meghan's first legal gamble. Trademark battles have followed her like shadows ever since she and Harry left the firm. From Sussex Royal to archetypes, every move has been calculated, branded, and monetized. But this time, the target wasn't a podcast. It was Princess Diana. And worse, the crown itself. Can you really trademark a royal title? Is it even legal to claim ownership over a family name linked to the monarchy? Apparently, Meghan thought so. And so did her legal team. Insiders say this plan had been in motion for months, maybe years. PR advisors, branding experts, legal strategists, all working behind the scenes to roll out a new empire, a new Diana, a new Windsor. But this time, it would be Meghan at the center. She wanted to package it, sell it, license it. Diana's name on a luxury perfume line. House of Windsor stamped on home decor and apparel. Sound far-fetched? Not when you look at the filings. Multiple international classes, digital goods, entertainment services, fashion, jewelry, even immersive experiences. The filings weren't just symbolic, they were strategic. Tactical. She wanted it all. But so did someone else. Prince William had enough. Because to him, Diana isn't a business opportunity. She's mum. And House of Windsor? That isn't a slogan. It's his children's inheritance. To Meghan, these names were in used IP. To William, they were sacred. So when Meghan moved legally, William moved legally and decisively. According to insiders close to the crown, this is one of the rare times in modern royal history that a direct heir to the throne has filed legal action against a family member in open court. Not through proxies, not through the palace lawyers, but directly. Why didn't the palace stop him? Because even the king himself, Charles, reportedly said this was William's fight. And when William made the call, he didn't flinch. He wasn't going to let his mother's name be sold to the highest bidder. He wasn't going to let his family's name become a logo. But what came next would leave even his advisors shaken. Because Meghan? She fought back. She filed counterclaims. She told her side. She pointed to Diana's public legacy. She accused the royals of trying to erase her. She even argued that by marrying into the family, she had every right to use the Windsor name, even for commercial gain. That's when things spiraled into a full-blown legal disaster. Tabloid headlines turned into courtroom summaries, leaked documents, secret letters, internal palace memos. Even Harry's silence became a headline. And when one document surfaced, allegedly from a branding consultant discussing the modern reimagination of Diana's aura, even diehard Meghan supporters began to raise eyebrows. What started as a trademark dispute became a royal reckoning. A collision of identity, legacy, power, and profit. Was Meghan protecting her brand? Or hijacking a legacy? Was William defending his mother? Or using legal muscle to silence his sister-in-law? And the biggest question of all, who really owns a legacy? Is it the family? The people? The brand? Or the one bold enough to file for it first? By the time we reach the Supreme Court hearing, those questions will collide. But first, we need to go back. Back to where it started. Not with a courtroom, not with a trademark filing, but with a name. A name whispered by the world for 25 years. Diana. And one woman's attempt to claim it. Whose name is it really? That's the question echoing through royal hallways, courtrooms, and online firestorms after Meghan Markle did the unthinkable, filing a trademark claim to secure exclusive rights to the name Princess Diana. You heard that right. The woman once praised for marrying into the royal family and bringing modernity to the monarchy now wants legal ownership of its most beloved, most tragic, most iconic figure. Princess Diana. The people's princess. The humanitarian. The mother. The symbol of compassion and rebellion. Gone too soon, but never forgotten. And now, filed as a potential brand. Perfumes, clothing, books, streaming shows, experiential events, digital content, all listed under the trademark application. Not from a foundation, not from a charity, from Meghan Markle's brand development firm. How did we get here? Why would anyone, especially someone who once claimed to revere Diana, try to own her name? It started quietly. A few digital breadcrumbs. Trademark filings in the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Categories that seemed harmless at first. Lifestyle services, media production, retail. But then came two unmistakable words, Princess Diana. At first, many thought it was a tribute, a foundation relaunch, a charity reboot, something honoring Diana's legacy of giving. But when legal analysts reviewed the details, the intent became clear. This wasn't philanthropy. It was commerce. Brand consultants attached to Meghan's team reportedly pitched the idea as a global emotional anchor, a way to legitimize her upcoming lifestyle empire. Diana's memory had global recognition, a powerful narrative, nostalgia, marketability, everything a brand needs. And Meghan? She had the legal tools to try and capture it. But here's the question that tore the internet in half. Was this admiration or appropriation? To understand the impact, you have to go back. Princess Diana wasn't just a royal figure. She was a revolution in heels. She touched AIDS patients when others wouldn't. She walked through minefields in Africa. She wept publicly. She defied the palace. She wore her heart on her sleeve and made the whole world fall in love with her. And she died, tragically, violently, in that Paris tunnel, chased by photographers and devoured by fame. So when Meghan stepped into the royal spotlight in 2018, comparisons to Diana were inevitable. Both were outsiders. Both were style icons. Both struggled within the firm. Meghan herself leaned into the narrative, mentioning Diana frequently in interviews, even claiming to feel her presence guiding her. But claiming to feel Diana is one thing. Claiming to own her is something else entirely. When news of the trademark filing broke, the world didn't just react. It exploded. Disgusting. Unthinkable. She has no right. She's keeping Diana's memory alive. She's monetizing a ghost. And in the middle of this global debate, two brothers stood on opposite ends of a moral battlefield. Prince Harry, silent. Prince William, livid. And it's not hard to see why. Because for William, Diana is sacred ground. He was 15 when she died. He walked behind her casket, jaw clenched, soul shattered. He spent years protecting her legacy. Quietly funding charities she supported, curating documentaries in her honor, raising his children to know Granny Diana through photos and stories. To William, Diana's name isn't a marketing tool. It's the most painful treasure of his life. So when Meghan filed that paperwork, it wasn't just a legal act. It was a punch in the heart. And according to palace insiders, William's reaction was instant. He didn't go to press. He didn't call Meghan. He went straight to his advisors and told them to prepare a legal response. But that wasn't the only move she made. Because in the very same set of filings, buried in legal jargon and category codes, was a second shocker. Meghan had also filed a trademark request for House of Windsor. That's right, not just Diana's name. The name of the entire royal lineage. This wasn't a tribute anymore. This was a takeover. But before we go there, let's stay with Diana for a moment longer. Because it wasn't just the trademark that hurt. It was what Meghan planned to do with it. Documents revealed intentions for a multi-platform rollout. Fashion, fragrance, wellness products. A streaming docu-series titled Living Diana. One leaked memo outlined a plan for an AI-generated voice experience where users could hear Diana's advice on motherhood, marriage, and womanhood. An AI Diana? Let that sink in. What would William think of that? What would Diana think of that? For royal insiders, it was the ultimate betrayal. One source close to Kensington Palace said, "It's one thing to channel her spirit. It's another to try and resurrect her as a digital avatar." But perhaps the most chilling revelation came from a former branding consultant who once worked on an early Meghan project. She anonymously told a media outlet, Diana was always part of the long game. Meghan saw her as the emotional currency that could never fail. People adore Diana. Meghan believed that by tying her brand to Diana's memory, she could bypass criticism. It wasn't malicious. It was strategic. Strategic. Think about that word. What does it mean to strategize someone's legacy? To convert grief into market share? To turn trauma into trademarks? And here's the cruel irony. Meghan, once hounded by tabloids, once compared to Diana in sympathy, was now being compared to her again. But not as the victim, as the appropriator. And it wasn't just the British press slamming the move. Even in the US, Meghan's sanctuary, commentators were rattled. Podcasts, talk shows, YouTubers, TikTokers. Hashtags started trending. Hashtag Diana is not for sale. Hashtag not your princess. Hashtag let Diana rest. The story had gone global. And the royal household? Dead silent. At least in public. But behind the scenes, the wheels were already turning. William was preparing his strike. Not through emotional interviews. Not through a passive-aggressive palace statement. Not through leaks. But through court. Because while Diana's name might belong to the public in spirit, in legal terms, things were murky. Especially when it came to use for commerce. Could anyone claim exclusive rights to Princess Diana? Could William stop it? Or was it already too late? Here's where it gets legally fascinating and emotionally explosive. Princess Diana was never a trademarked figure during her lifetime. That's standard. Royals typically avoid commercializing their titles. But that also left a loophole. A dangerous loophole. One that Meghan's legal team was allegedly eager to exploit. She didn't need approval from the monarchy. All she needed was time, a few legal filings, and a strong argument that she had a legitimate brand vision that honored Diana's public influence. But what about the family? What about William? What about the moral claim? Turns out, morality isn't always a defense in trademark law. Which meant Meghan had a chance. Unless William acted fast. And he did. According to sources, the day after learning about the trademark filing, William summoned his legal team. There were calls with the palace, arguments, late-night strategy meetings. But William didn't budge. He reportedly told aides, "This isn't about a brand. This is about my mother." That same week, preliminary legal motions were drafted. An injunction was considered. Options were weighed. But there was one problem. Harry. What would he do? Would he defend Meghan? Would he side with William? Or would he stay silent? As it turns out, Harry said nothing, at least publicly. And that silence may have made things worse. Because without Harry in the mix, the headlines told their own story. William versus Meghan. Diana's son versus Diana's would-be brander. And in the court of public opinion, the verdict was swinging fast and hard. But in the actual court, things were just getting started. Because William didn't just want to block the trademark. He wanted to challenge the very idea that Diana's name could ever be owned. But what came next would escalate things beyond anyone's imagination. Because while William prepared his legal counter, Meghan had another name in her sights. And this time, it wasn't just personal, it was royal.